Hello everyone, welcome back to CSE 151. In this video, we're going to go over the grade sheet. So, last time we had an assignment, we got into the beginnings of coding. And in this video, we're going to continue doing some coding, but we're going to be doing some coding some different ways. And here we are, we're going to make something that looks generally like this, okay? So, first things first, find your worksheet, make a new sheet. I will rename this to grade sheet. Put my name on it. And as always, boopity boopity boop boop. Put my name on it. Put the date on it. And we're off to the races. Command S to save. There we go. Now then, let's take a look at, let's zoom in a little bit and let's see what we got here. Now obviously we don't have a little border up top or anything. We don't have any big giant thing saying this is my grade sheet. We just got assignment, score, grade, pass, fail. And I guarantee you there's a lot of coding in this. You wouldn't be able to see that just by looking at this. Like hence what this right here is an image. Hence once again why you do not give me an image. I want the Excel file, because I can double click an Excel file and see what's in the cell. Like, no matter how many times I click this, it's not going to actually open up the cell and show me the coding behind it. So, let's do that then. We're going to make ourselves assignment. We're going to give ourselves a score, and we're going to give ourselves a percentage. And we're going to see if we pass or fail. Okay? And I believe I called this score grade, pass, fail. But grade, I feel like people will mistake grade as A, B, C, D, E, F. Yeah. But we're gonna make sure we understand that it's percentage. Okay? So let's make these areas. Boop 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 boop. Boop 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 boop. Let's do our normal little things. Let's make it bold, underline. There we go. Give it some sort of, kind of thing to look at a little bit. Make it a little pretty. Let's go with, I don't know what I feel like. What seems academic? Gold background seems academic. Why not? Gold. Gold medal. Not sure why I think gold, valedictorian, gold medal, but you know what? We're going to say gold. And basically, how are we going to do this? Well, first, let's start off by just making a list of assignments that we know we have. Okay? So I know that I have myself the task list. Okay? And I know I've got the calendar. We've already done those videos. And we know we've got the, budget calculator. Calculator. Helps when I can spell. And this right here is the grade sheet. And then, of course, I know we have more things in Excel as well. Now, I tried to make it like, week 1 and week 2, week 1, week 2, quiz, capstone. So, let's see here. So, we know we have ourselves, we can always just look at this sort of situation. We can always just look at what's coming down in Canvas and say, what's next after the Excel grade sheet? Oh, revenue chart. Okay. Revenue chart. And then I also had formulas, future predictions, an inventory sheet, future predictions, inventory sheet, and then I know we have an Excel capstone and Excel quiz. And then I know we're going to have Command Z. Okay, nope. Well, this is what happens when you start clicking and dragging around. Sometimes things wind up happening and get crossed over. So, if you ever need to, Command Z will undo. Shift Command Z will redo. So there we go. And of course, I'd fill in the rest of my stuff all the way down here as well, because we're, week 1, week actually week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, week 6. This right here is essentially half the semester. So then I know I have a HTML page, so web page assignment. I know I've got that. Then I know I've got links. Actually, I probably should call that hyperlinks, just for the sake of differentiating. And then I know we have styles, and I know we're going to do tables, all in HTML, which will then allow us to have a HTML capstone and an HTML quiz. Then we're going to get into Python, and I forget exactly what order the Python assignments happen. Python variables. So variables, and then data types. Then I had strings. Then I had random numbers. Then I had if statements, while loops, for loops, and the computer login. So, if statements, while loops, for loops, login program. Then I had the Python capstone and a Python quiz. And then, of course, we have ourselves the actual final. And that's generally every single assignment and extra credit, but I'm not going to count extra credit in this as it goes. So let's just go back to our grade sheet here. Let's go back to our little reference. Always a good thing to have a reference up. Cool. So, oh, that's right, missing assignments and total grade. I will do that. Do that afterwards. So, let's just start with random scores here. So first and foremost, let's just highlight this entire column, and let's give it a left border here, just for the sake of, there we go. And while I'm over here, let me grab that and say no border. Boom, now there's a border on this side, but nothing else. And that gives us this sort of pathway like this. So, and of course, let me just grab this entire thing. Let me make all you guys italics. Then grab these guys, make you guys not italic. And there we go. Now these guys are italic. But not these guys. So, let's just make some random scores here. Now, realistically, put the scores you actually got in the assignment. But, I don't know. I'll say I got a 98 there. I'll say I got a 78 on that one. But I got a 89 on this guy. There we go. And we can keep going on and just making up more random, more just randomized numbers. 2. I'm going to just say, for whatever reason, I did terrible on the capstone, but I did okay on the quiz. And there we go, back to that. And I'm just adding in random numbers. Numbers that make absolutely no sense, but, we're going to go with numbers. And then I say I did a 88 on that, and I did a 87 on that. Why not? I did better on HTML. We'll say that. So once you're done filling in random numbers, and screw it, I'll put a 0 for this guy just for the sake of it, just to prove a point. Once you've made a bunch of random numbers, we're going to call that done for the time being as far as this column. And the final is actually out of 200 points. So let's go and say I got a 175. Why not? We'll just say that. So cool. Now that we've gotten ourselves a percentages, first let me just grab this guy and make it entirely a percentage based. Boop. And do I want decimal points? I do not want decimal points. Let me just boop, 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 click out the decimal points just to be on the safe side. So, this column and this column are all going to be equations. Now, I know for a fact that every assignment here is out of 100. So a 100 out of 100 is a 100%. I could just simply type out a 100% and do that. But no, this is going to be an equation. Because what happens if I go back and say, oh, wait a minute, I actually got something wrong. 99. Well, now a 99 equals a 100%. And that doesn't make sense. So, simple question. How do I do this? Now, there is no such thing as equal. I mean, there's percentile.exe, percentile.inc, %rank.e. There's a bunch of different things involving percent here, but we're just going to use a math equation, okay? A lot of computer programming is just math. So if you've taken math courses and you feel like you were not that good at them, okay, here's where we're going to have to think for a moment. So, how do I normally figure out the percentage one number is out of the other? Do I use addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division? You wind up using division. So if I were to say this guy divided by 100, because, 100% is my base total, I wind up with 99%. And if I said, oops, actually that was a 79%, look, it updates automatically 79. And same thing over here. So equal this guy divided by 100. Same thing, equal this guy divided by 100. Repetition is the mother of all learning. Equal this guy divided by 100. And any of you remembering, once I do 3 things in a row, I can just use the autofill tool, this giant copy and paste, and I can just click and drag it down, and it will automatically fill in the rest of everything. So you see, there's the equation right there on that guy. There's the equation right there on that guy. There's the equation right there on that guy. You'll also notice there's the equation of nothing being divided by 100. So let's just get rid of that guy because we don't need it. Get rid of that guy, we don't need it. Get rid of that guy, we don't need it. 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 I just didn't want... I broke this up specifically because I did not want to have this giant wall of, numbers going vertically, and it would be hard to look at. That's why I have the spacing here, in case anyone's wondering. So, and the other thing is, but this guy isn't out of 100. If we do this guy divided by 100, I got a 175%. I got above 100%. I got 75% extra credit. No, that doesn't make sense. So this guy is actually out of 200. The final is out of 200 points. It's in the syllabus. So let me correct that, and that 175 equals an 88%. Cool. Now then, that's coding based on, using an equation, equal something divided by something. We can also code based on conditions. So if I were to just grab this one cell here, okay, this 79%, and I go to conditional formatting, I got options. I can highlight cells that are less than, greater than, equal to, between, something like that. So I'm going to say if this guy is, less than, what are we going to check? We're going to check to see if something is less than, what's a failing grade here? Actually, nope. Let's not make assumptions here. Let's go and look at the rubric. Conditional grades turn if it's less than 70%. Okay, cool. So, cancel. So, if I go to conditional formatting, highlight cells, if we are less than 70%, right there, if we're less than 70%, we will fill this with dark red. Okay. Now, obviously nothing happened. But watch what happens if this guy becomes, 65. Boom! Now this guy turned red. Now, if I put this guy back up to 87 or something, boom, he's no longer red. So I'm going to do that for all of this, or more specifically for these guys and these guys. So let me just highlight the entire column. Conditional formatting, if it's less than 70%. And of course, these guys and everything that was not us, just got filled in. So, probably I don't want to do the entire column. So let me just Command Z, undo that. Let me just grab these guys. Conditional format, less than 70%. Now I only have to worry about these blank ones that I don't want. So I can just go and click the conditional formatting, and I can say clear rules from selected cells. Boop. Now there's no rules on this. And I can do the same thing just by command clicking. I can click multiple things that aren't in a row by just holding the command button and clicking. So in theory, for you PC users, that would be a control click. So clear rules from selected cells, boom. Those selected cells are gone, but now every single thing that is, that winds up being under 70% turns out to be, turns out red, anything that's not the same thing. And we'll do the same thing over here. So we'll grab these guys, but instead of doing 70%, actually I'm going to have to be something different here. I'm going to have to go and say conditional formatting, highlight if it's less than, instead of 70%, we're going to do if it's less than 70. And of course, nothing is less than 70, so let me go and select this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy, and that guy. And let me just go and clear the rules there. Boom. So now, once again, the guys that are less than 70 automatically turn into red. And when they get above 70, they don't turn red. They turn back to normal. Now this guy is not under 70 because it's out of 200. 70% of this would actually be 140. So let's go and make a new rule for that cell. Make sure I have that one cell selected. Highlight if it's less than 140. Boom. And now, of course, if it winds up being, 135, boom, now it turns red. And of course, at exactly 70%, we're still in the clear. So, there we go. And that's conditional formatting. So we're changing how the cell looks based on the data in the cell. And that's a nice little trick, don't you think? It's a nice little trick. Now, we're going to add some more coding in this pass-fail column. So, same thing, every equation starts with equal. But I'm going to say equal if. Okay? And you'll notice there's if error, if not available, ifs, multiple. I did have a variation of ifs with multiples, but apparently the online version doesn't use that. So I'm just going to stick with if. I was going to get fancy and say like, oh, we'll say if it's an A versus if it's an A minus or it's a B plus. I was going to get fancy with it, but now we'll keep it simple. So if, brackets, and now you'll notice it says logic test, comma, value if true, comma, value if false. That's telling you what it is. So basically, if I were to do that, that's my logic test, comma, now I'm in my value if true, comma, now I'm in my value if false. So this is what I'm searching for. This is what will happen if that is true. This is what will happen if that is false. Now, obviously, right now it's complete gibberish, so let me put in something correct here. So I'm going to check to see if we pass or fail, and we're going to use 70% as a parameter. So if this cell is greater than 0.7, because remember, 70% is 0.7 in decimal format, 1 is 100, 0.1 is 10%, 0.01 is 1%, so on and so forth. A 0.7 would be 70%. So if this number is greater than 0.7, I will say you passed. If you did not get better than 0.7, I will say fail. So in this hypothetical class, it's pass-fail. The actual class is not pass-fail, but we're going to say in this hypothetical situation, it's a pass-fail class. So I've got, if this is true, say pass. If this is false, say fail. And I passed. But obviously, if I switch this to a 67, boom, it says fail. So, same thing again, equals if for if this guy is greater than 0.7, comma, pass, comma, that was not a comma, that was a period, fail. And yes, those quotes are important. They mark the end and start of a string. So here's the start of what you say, here's the end of what you say. The computer does not know when to start or stop. You have to tell it when to stop and start. That is going to be something that comes into play later on in HTML and Python. So please remember, you must indicate where something starts and where it ends. Same thing with the parentheses. Where do you start? Where do you end? Now, if you forget the last parentheses, the computer will probably tell you, hey, you forgot parentheses. But the point still stands. Remember to start and stop stuff. And there we go. And same thing, equal if this guy is greater than 0.7, comma, pass, comma, fail, comma. And we could honestly do that in reverse. You know, if we were checking to see if it's less than 0.7. Matter of fact, checking if it's less than 0.7 might be better. Because then at exactly 0.7 won't get us a fail. So let me just flip that. Fail and pass. Let me just copy, paste, 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 copy, paste. You see how it says that one failed, but that one did not. Paste, 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 paste. And of course, guess what I'm going to do, guys? I'm going to conditional format this as well. Now this one, I don't think I'll have to delete anything specific. So, let's just go in and say, conditional formatting, highlight the cells, but this time instead of saying greater than, because I mean, this is not numbers, this is pass and fail. How are you greater than pass, less than fail? Yeah, that doesn't make sense. I'm going to say equal to. So I'm going to highlight the cells if they're equal to the word fail. So now you'll notice only the things that say fail wind up turning red. This guy doesn't say fail, so it's got nothing. But the moment it says fail, there we go, it still pops in. So just proving that it works. But considering there will never be the word fail in this cell, I think we're good to go. So yeah, and that's the majority of it. We've got one column that just has a bunch of numbers. One column that has equations that use the previous number to make a percentage. And then we've got another column that is entirely coded that uses this percentage to create this pass or fail. And while I'm at it, I do not like that they are smushing up right next to each other like that. So I'm just going to highlight this entire column by clicking the column. I'm going to make that right aligned. But I'm going to make this guy center aligned. There we go. There we go. Now everything is something like that. Or should I honestly, let me just do this. Let me do this instead. Everything's now centered. There we go. There we go. I like that look. There we go. And then, of course, boom, 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 you find out what the final grade is for your class, so on and so forth. This is not counting attendance, obviously, as well. Attendance is a grade in here, and so is, yeah. But there we go. So now we just have this missing grade and totals part. Okay, so, whoops, oops, oop, 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 oop. So I'm going to say we've got ourselves missing assignments. Assignments. Boop, boop, boop. So, missing assignments. Basically, I'm going to have to equal something. But equal what? Well, how do we know if assignment is missing? Probably if it has a 0, right? You got a 0 because you didn't hand it in. So I'm going to look for every single one that has a 0. So right now there's 1. There's 1. I could physically type a 1 in here. But here comes the problem. If I put a 0 in here, well, now I have 2 missing assignments. This still says a 1. So I don't want to just type a 1. I need an equation. I need to count stuff. But I don't want to count just any old stuff. I want to count if something happens. So I'm going to count if in a range. So I'm going to grab, all of you guys. That's my range. But I'm only going to count those if it's equal to 0. And there's 2. And then once I add another 0 in something, there we go. There's now 3 things that I'm missing. So this guy will only count this stuff if there's a 0 in there. Now you'll notice, it does not count the blank things, even though the conditional formatting before counted the blank things. Nothing and 0 are 2 different things. 0 is a number. You can add 0. You can subtract 0. You can multiply by 0. You can't divide by 0 yet, though who knows, maybe mathematicians will figure out how that's possible. But yeah, so 0 is data. Nothing is physically nothing. 0 is also a slot in memory on a computer, but that will matter more when it comes to Python. So, there we go. We know that we're missing 3 assignments. And realistically speaking, nah, let's not turn that red. I think we're good. Don't think it wants us to turn it red for the grade, pass, fail, total, so on. Conditional format if it says cells, score. Okay, cool. It does not say anything about the totals. So, I was going to say, in theory, any missing numbers is kind of a big no-no, but here we go. And then we also have ourselves our total. Our total for the class. So obviously, if we're going to do the total for the class, we're going to go with an equal average, because we're going to average all these numbers together. And we've got, actually, no, it's not. It's not an average. I need to add all these numbers together and then divide by 100, 200, 300, 400, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. I need to divide by 2,800 to get an accurate total for all this. So equal, is there a simple way to do that off the top of my head right now? Did I come up with a way in the actual step-by-step instructions? I feel like I should have been able to figure that out. Okay, it just wants me to use an average. I decided upon average for that, because I had the final exam out of 100%, not 200. Okay, well, that's why. So yes, that was going to be an equal average. Well, you know what? If you make the final out of 100%, we will go with an average. However, I'm going to do my ridiculous thing because that's exactly what I want to do. Equal, that's B5 down to B39. So B5 plus B6 plus B7 plus B8. And you see how ridiculous so on and so on and so on that would wind up getting. Then I would have divided it by 2,800. So, tell you what. Let's do the simpler solution. Let's make this guy only out of let's make this guy out of 100, just for the sake of argument here. And I need the conditional formatting, clear the rule. I need to clear your rule, clear rule from selected cell, put you back to highlight if you're less than 70. Boom. Now then, back to this. Equal average from B5 to B39. Boom, that gave me an average. And I'm going to get that percentage down to that. So I averaged a 77. Obviously, same thing I did before up here. This number divided by 100. 77%. And once again, equal, if this guy is less than 0.7, we're going to say that we failed. However, if we were not less than 0.7, we're going to say pass. And there we go. And of course, whenever I change anything here, these numbers also update. And there we go. That would be essentially... Now, I could have gone further involved. Like, I could have said, oh, let's grab every quiz and only get the quizzes. So this guy, and this guy. And we could have, specifically only averaged the quizzes, or only averaged the capstones, or only averaged the Excel, only averaged the Python. We could have gone into however many analytics we wanted to. But just having the total number, the totals of the class, and the missing assignments, I feel like that's good enough for our little foray into designing stuff. So, and then again, of course, let's go back into the view. Let's go to page layout. There we go. That's how it looks on one page. Boom, 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 like that. Yeah, it's quite good. So, what did we learn today, folks? We learned how to use an if statement, a conditional logic that has two possible outcomes. We learned how to, we reminded ourselves how to make percentages out of numbers. We also learned average. We also learned how to use count if. So, and we've learned conditional formatting rules. Thank you very much, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Remember to, save and submit this online.